About a year ago, I was walking out of the gym with my buddy. Now, both of us, we had this goal of getting to a 315 bench press by July of 2025. And it was like around January or something like that. And my friend, he was at a 265 bench press. And I was at a 235 bench press. And he was so far ahead of me. And we were talking, okay, like, do you think we're actually going to be able to make it to 315 around then? Because that's actually a pretty big jump. And for me, you see, I wanted to get to the 315 bench press also. And look, he was at 265. And so he was only about like 70 pounds away. That's just off the top of my head. And I was like about 100 pounds away, like 95 pounds away from the 315 bench press. And so I told him, okay, we should bulk. We should actually bulk so that we can put on muscle faster, and then we can like eat clean, and we can still just eat a lot more, because then that way we'll get faster. And he told me, no, I don't want to get fat. I don't want to get fat. 7 months later, I am 30 pounds heavier, and my heart is beating extremely fast because it is the day. It is the day that I'm going to test my max to get to the 315 bench press. If I hit this 315 bench press, that means that I will have added 90 pounds to my bench press in only 6 months. And so my heart's beating extremely fast. Like, I'm worried around, like I'm looking around. I'm feeling like, man, will I actually be able to get this? Like, it must not be super possible. I don't know. I'm just nervous. My hands feel like kind of jittery, because when I get really nervous, my hands start to shake a little bit. And as you can see, that day, when I benched 315 for the very first time and added 90 pounds to my bench press in 6 months, I realized why most people stay weak, why most people don't make progress. It's because they train out of fear. They train not to get rid or not to get better long term. They train because they are trying to escape fear in the moment. The thing is, the reason why I had the most progress and why my friend never got to the 315 bench press, hopefully he'll get there someday. The reason why I made all the progress and my friend, he made some progress, but he didn't get to the 315 bench press, was because I cared more about where I was going, who I was becoming, than who I looked like while I was going there. I cared more about the actual goal than all of what I would actually have to look like, because truth be told, I did get a little bit more fat, but now at peak bulk, it's 2 months later, and I'm already way leaner than I was 2 months ago. So now I'm 200 pounds lean. I can actually bench 325 pounds, so I've gained 100 pounds in 7 months, and I can squat 405. You need to bulk. Bulking is the cure to the skinny, fat, and weak physique. If you don't bulk and you're afraid to gain a little bit of fat when you're going towards your goals, maybe you might get towards your goals, maybe you'll make it there, but you could have gotten there so much faster, and you'll see other people making more progress faster than you. And if you don't have the muscle for when you're actually deciding to go on a cut, when you do end up cutting and you haven't bulked before, or you haven't bulked correctly, then you just look very small, and I could snap you like a twig, respectfully, of course. It's like when I first started exercising, I was so just angry and I hated myself because I was fat. I was just like a chubbier kid. And so when I first started exercising, I just focused on losing fat, and I wasn't thinking about, protein. I didn't even know much about protein when I first started exercising. And what I did was I just cut fat, and then eventually I looked really, really skinny. I was very, very skinny, like a little twig. I weighed probably 150 pounds for my frame there. And I just wasn't very, very big, and I did not look very healthy because I was not cutting correctly. But this time, when I bulked, I was able to actually not look too fat. Like, you could see more extra fat in my face. Like, you can see a couple of the videos, from maybe a couple months ago, I have more face fat and things like that. And then also my physique, of course, you could still kind of see my abs, but they were very watery, and you could just barely see them. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, when I was out and about, nobody really thought I was fat. People just thought I was big. I had big muscles and things like that. This is because, and this is especially why it's good to bulk when it's winter, you aren't fat. You aren't fat until your shadow is fat. And so I want to equip you with that when you're going throughout this video and you're deciding to actually bulk. Because especially in a time like winter, when you're not always taking off your shirt, going to the beach, if your shadow does not look fat, then you are not fat. And you can get away with it like that. So I'm going to give you a bunch of tips when it comes to actually bulking. So first of all, first thing, of course, this is like the king of like the bulking tips. Eat more. Of course, obviously, eat more. Like have way more carbs, way more calories. Just eat so much. Eat until you get full, and then eat just a little bit more. It should feel like, at least it felt like for me, when you were younger and you didn't want to eat your food and your parents were telling you, no, finish your plate. That is how it feels, except you are the one in your head forcing yourself to actually eat the food. If I were you, I would actually go more than 1 gram per pound of body weight of your protein. This is because if you have elevated levels of protein, more than 1 gram per pound of body weight, I like to think of it as gram per pound of body weight that you desire of protein. What you actually end up doing is, and this is like a more scientific thing that most people will never talk about, but because I know about a lot about testosterone, and that's why I'm able to get progress faster, especially in bulking and build more muscle with less fat when I'm actually bulking, is that if you eat more than 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein, then you actually have more testosterone being used by your body. This is because having a higher protein diet, higher than 1 gram per pound of body weight, it actually lowers your sex hormone binding globulin, your SHBG. And SHBG actually makes your testosterone less bioavailable, and we know that testosterone increases muscle mass. Testosterone helps you just work out and make more gains in the gym, and it makes hard work feel fun. So like motivation. Now, if you are already at that 10 to 15% range of body fat and you already look like pretty shredded, that is actually when your testosterone is the highest. When you're starting to bulk and you get over that 20% body fat mark, your testosterone actually slightly goes a little bit down, but it's kind of like a curve. If you're still eating a lot, of course, you're still going to put on more weight, put on more muscle, but the muscle building might slow down a little bit if you go to the higher body fat percentages. So I want that to be clear. This is because fat tissue carries an enzyme called aromatase, and aromatase converts testosterone into estrogen. And I'm not going to get like too crazy with this, but if you have too high estrogen levels, then it will decrease your testosterone. Because as a man, the physiology in women is different, but as a man, you get most of your estrogen from your testosterone. So if you have too much estrogen, then you're going to decrease your testosterone. And so if you have higher body fat percentage, then you will have less testosterone, and testosterone helps you build muscle, so you'll have less gains eventually if you get really high in body fat percentage. Personally, I got to around 27% body fat around this time, and I was really training hard. So I built a lot of muscle, and it didn't actually look like I was at 27% body fat. If you look at a picture of like, search up 27% body fat, and then you look at a picture of me or a video of me, I don't actually look like the pictures here, but that's because I was able to build more muscle, and that helped me stay a little bit more aesthetic, even though I looked a little bit, fatter, just more watery abs. The real thing that's gonna actually make you gain weight and actually fuel your workouts, give you more energy to get more stimulus and actually burn and just be able to carry higher weight is actually in the carbohydrates, the calories, and so basically, you want to have more foods that are higher in calories while still making sure that you're eating clean. I will never advocate the dirty bulk. The dirty bulk is never a good thing. Eating freaking like processed foods, like freaking donuts that have like seed oils and inflammatory red dyes that have cancerous effects on your body. I will never advocate for those things. I'd say focus on clean eating, and clean eating can be delicious. I always would have a salad. I would have a bunch of potatoes or rice, and then I would also have just like a bunch of meat. Those things are always the best. Now, if you are going on an aggressive bulk, I would say rice is a lot easier to get a lot more calories in than actually potatoes or other carbohydrates like that. So I truly recommend eating a bunch of rice, lots of fruit, lots of those things, because they'll help you able to get more calories in, and so you can bulk much easier, because you'll also build more muscle with this too, because you'll be able to have more energy to actually fuel your workouts. So a couple of my go-to meals when I was actually bulking, ground beef and rice or potatoes, but rice, we just talked about. and then like a salad with like, feta, cucumber, like feta cheese, cucumber, and I don't know, like just whatever you want to put in your salads pretty much. I'm sure I can find a picture of what my salads look like. And then you can also have a simple kind of like pan meal where you just put your veggies, you cook some rice in the rice cooker, and then you put your chicken, and then you put olive oil in these things, and you just put it in the oven, set it to like 375 or even 400, and then just put it in there for like 20 or 30 minutes, and then you already have like an easy meal that literally took like 5 minutes prep. Another thing that helped me get extra calories in it and meet my protein goals really well was actually this kind of strategy called, or kind of is derived from this thing called GOMAD, gallon of milk a day. Now, I did not do that, but what I will tell you is that I did drink lots of milk, especially like right before I was gonna go to bed, just to get a couple like extra calories, and I'd probably have like 2 or 3 cups of milk just because I also like milk. So yeah, I know some people don't like milk for some reason, but I like milk. And the last tip I'll tell you with kind of going with the milk is to have liquid calories. If you're the kind of person that is not blessed with a great appetite like myself, then liquid calories are your best friend, is what I'm saying. And so if you are able to just make milkshakes, you get a protein powder, you put milk, you put just whatever, like berries, fruits, whatever you want, that is the easiest way to have so many more calories and more protein in your life if you struggle to have more eating the actual thing, because healthy food usually is more filling anyways. So those were a couple mindset shifts and a couple tips from that helped me when I was bulking. I gained like 20 or 30 pounds. My peak bulk was at 223 pounds. That's what that looked like on the screen actually. So I hope that this video helped you. I'll do a quick recap so that you can come out with this with like actually knowing exactly what you need to remember. Feast like a king and embrace your appetite. If you have a low appetite, focus on liquid calories. Bulking, it should be difficult. It should feel like at a point where you are kind of like forcing yourself to eat, and it's not like force feeding because it actually is congruent with your goals. I would set like a weight goal, by the way. When you wake up in the morning also, you'll probably be like pretty like full, like not full, but like you probably won't want to eat if you're bulking correctly. I'm just saying. If you're over about 20% body fat, you're gonna have less testosterone levels, and that will facilitate less muscle growth. The peak I went to was around 27.5% body fat. Rice helps you get in more calories than other carbohydrates, but then also just eat more carbs and like simple meals that have a bunch of protein. I love ground beef for bulking, and just have like a nice salad with micronutrients, and then you also have your carb. The protein, the carb, the salad, those things, that is the perfect combo. And remember to clean bulk, because clean bulking is the method. You'll be able to facilitate your testosterone levels much easier, much better when you're actually bulking. Now, if you want to have unhealthy food, like if you want to go eat burgers, like that have seed oils and all the things, like you can make burgers at home with like healthier ingredients. But if you want to eat these burgers, these freaking donuts, the fast food, you literally just need to understand that you're going to put on way more fat and be less healthy and have less testosterone levels than other people, and you're not going to make progress as fast. And so what even is the point of your bulk if it's not for your health and your actual progress anyways? So focus. Like, this is the biggest mindset shift that you need to come out with this video. And this correlates to every aspect of your life, especially for bulking, especially for getting to that 315, 325 bench press, that 275 plus bench press. Who you are becoming needs to be more important than how you look like when you are going there. Because you honestly might look like a clown when you are trying to pursue your goals, but once you get to your goals, everybody's going to ask you how you did it. Every single time, that is what happens. So, sacrifice. Right now, sacrifice the you progressing to your goals for the actual goal. You always need to sacrifice something. And so if you are willing to sacrifice those things, you'll make more progress than everybody else and all of your friends. When you are optimizing your testosterone naturally, when you are doing all of the right habits and you're training hard and you're eating a bunch, you will put on the most mass of your life. And again, if you're optimizing your testosterone, then most of it should be muscle mass. Send this video to a friend who's afraid to bulk and get fat, and join my free community, link in description, to supercharge your gains, I can't even speak, bro, bench 275 plus, and stay aesthetic, or pretty aesthetic, while doing so. So yeah, like the video, bro. That was like 3 things. You got 3 tasks. See ya, bro.